Good evening, everybody. I'm so happy to be here once again on this platform of IIU. And we are so thankful to the great leader, Mr. Piyush Pandit, and the team involved with him. Coming to talk about International Internship University. We all know them as inspiring, inventing, igniting young minds, world's first international internship university. Yes, they are the leading virtual education system and a global brand confederation, which is the most valuable and trusted worldwide and well-reputed in delivering innovative programs. Globally, it is a trusted name for quality learning training programs and is committed to providing better and virtual education to all young learners of the globe. In short span of time, IIU has spread its wings in 195 countries and 6 continents. As I mentioned before, under the strong leadership of its visionary founder, Mr. Piyush Pandit sir, a committed and inspiring social activist, a passionate educationist from the last 2 decades, providing education to students from various social and cultural backgrounds. With due dedication to IIU, let's start today's evening program. Well, we are all educationists and we're all talking about education. I think we breathe education and it's our passion. And everybody will definitely concise with me, accept with me, saying that the future of the civilization is to a greater extent written on the walls of the classroom. It is of paramount importance to create the ideal ambience that shapes the mind of the generations to come for those inheritors of the earth. Not said by me, but my great John Milton Smith. Successful education, when does it happen? When the mind is free and agile and is guided for open-minded learning and moral values. This kind of education will create a new generation of students who will unfold new challenges to explore new endeavors, take up new responsibilities, and become innovative leaders who will be able to resolve and work and lead in fire transformation. Every learning that the student go through in this kind of learning experience is a round on the potter's wheel. Every touch on the potter's hand is every round of the wheel goes into shape, giving shape to a wet clay, rebuilding misshapen pottery. Every day in school is in its clean, hardening and setting up an environment of a friendly mold to carry long and far. This is achievable by whom? This is achievable by the group of caring and committed, dedicated teachers like us who worship this profession as a passion and as a divine service to humanity. This is what is said in Upanishad as a Toma Sadgamaya. Our teaching and learning, teaching should lead the younger generation from ignorance to truth. Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya. It should lead them from darkness to light. That means from unknown to known, Mrityoma Amritam Kamiyam, such that they become immortal human beings, not by living, but with the knowledge and the presence and the service to the humanity. On that dedication note, I would like to start today's program. Well, my question is that if we are talking about such an education which can happen, which can come up with what it could be, on that note, I would like to take you on a teaser video. So I'm going to share my screen. Hope I'll be successful enough. I should be with Ms. Ermi's support, definitely. Well, let's go to this YouTube video and check what is it there. Otherwise, I'm going to play it from my downloads. I'll try it. All right, my download. Yep. Yes. Hope it works. What makes a great learning environment? That's what the video is talking about. And what kind of learning environment is it going to show? And how is it going to progress further? Oh, it's taking longer, but still, we can talk about the learning environment. What do you think that what kind of learning environment, as we were talking about, it should involve the learner. It should be for the learner, where the learner is able to learn exactly from, is able to add value to what was his previous knowledge and what he is going to learn in this particular session. Well, if it's okay, then I'm going to stop the video because it is getting hung up. So I think I should stop it here. I'm sorry about this. And so opening, let me try it somewhere else. Okay. Okay. So integrating multidisciplinary and multisensory learning activities in a mixture of heterogeneous classroom situation makes a great learning environment. I'm very sorry I'm not able to share the video, but still I will try and do it. It talks about how we incorporate integrated learning. Integrated learning, okay, what does integrated learning means? What does this term integration means? What does it talk about? Integration means, exactly. It is derived from a Latin word integral. Integral part of the system. What does integrate means? To render something, to put together as a part of being a whole. That's what is the meaning is. Putting together the parts and the elements of the combine and bringing them to the whole. What are we putting together is the previous learning, the what I'm going to learn and how I'm going to upload. So it's a connection. It is a connection. It is a bridge. That's what we are building up through the integrated learning. Otherwise, the other way of integrated learning approaches heart, mind, and soul. What goes into the mind, it goes into the heart and it goes into the soul such that we are able to produce it. We are going to able to apply our learning processes such that we are able to add value to the learning process. So integrated learning is an approach where the learner brings the previous knowledge, as I told you, what I know before, and the experiences together to support the new learning process and the knowledge and the experiences such that they are able to add value to the previous knowledge and the learning in the application and able to produce it. This is what is the whole integration process is. So integrated learning is an approach where a learner brings the previous knowledge, prior knowledge and experiences to support new knowledge and experiences. By doing this, the learner draw on their skills and apply them to the new adventures at a more complex level. And the integrated learning provides intercurricular opportunities for students to demonstrate the knowledge and the skills across the multiple subject areas. The higher education concept forms the part as an integrated curriculum and development program, encouraging education professionals to promote activities that merge the subject disciplines. This is very important. Integration is, which we talked about, is the self-integration. That is the student learning in integration. The other kind of integration which comes with the environment. Why are we treating maths as a subject as a different subject? Why are we treating science as a different subject? Why are we treating English as a, everything put together and brings into the whole? That is what is the cross-curricular integration is talking about. That is merging subject disciplines. Say, for example, if a child is going to talk about plants, what kind of learning that we incorporating maths, he can measure the length of the plant, he can measure it using the measure scale, using a measure scale, like the length and the growth of the plant. And while talking about the science, he can talk about the photosynthesis. While talking about the art, he can draw the plant, he can express himself with the fruits and beautiful flowers on it, and then like when it comes to the explanatory part of it, whatever project that he is going to do for a germination of seed or whatever thing, parts of the plant or the different parts of the plant, he can come and explain things in the classroom. So we have integrated all other social disciplines in one particular topic such that the student enjoys the learning. So when we talk about living things, why are we starting the class saying that what are living things, what are non-living things, name few living things, name few non-living things. This is rote learning. Instead, take them out to the garden, let them explore, let them enjoy, let them relate the learning with the nature, come back to the classroom, have a chat with them. Open the floor to them. They will come up with n number of ideas. That is what is integrated learning. Ask your young children to explore the connections between the prior learning and the knowledge when the approach is new and previously undiscovered content. Moving ahead, why we use integrated learning opportunities? By providing the young children opportunities to explore various subject disciplines, as we talked about, how we can integrate different subjects into one with the cross-curricular activities that encourage the cognitive link between the information and the knowledge. We give the students essential skills that would translate into their adult lives and further learning journeys. This unique teaching and learning strategy is an effective way for students to become critical thinkers that use prior learning to develop knowledge across the curriculum. By taking the holistic approach to teaching and a range of subject ideas without explicitly teaching and isolating pieces of information, provides a biological base of learning, that is integration, as we talked about, mind, heart, and soul, such that they enjoy the whole, you're touching the soul and the senses of the learning of the process, and they enjoy the learning such that the outcome will be more, we will be successful in our outcome. For example, the brain does not separate or categorize the learned information. We often blend what we know from certain subjects such as science with our understanding of the geographical elements. This is an imperative form of teaching and learning if you aim to create truly authentic learning opportunities for your students, regardless of whether your students come from a junior or a senior or infants or whichever form they come from. How to incorporate integrated learning into a classroom situation. You may ask me this question. I have a student of about 30 to 40 in my classroom. Is it really, when I take them for a tour when teaching about the living things, I will lose my students. They will go hide me somewhere. So what is actually required is that the bonding, here the integration comes between a teacher and a student, the bond between the student and the teacher, such that the student understands this is the time for me to learn. I'm going to listen to my teacher, I'm going to follow her, and I'm going to take her expertise advice, and I'm going to apply myself, I'm going to explore myself, I'm going to engage, I'm going to explore, I'm going to learn, I'm going to express, I'm going to equip whatever thing which I don't have, I'm going to equip, and I'm going to bring it together. So that was the 4 E's that we're talking about. When teaching our children new skills and knowledge, we often spend a significant amount of time working on the specific elements of essentially contribute to the holistic skills. So definitely people will agree with me. We spend a whole amount of time in writing lesson plans and making in the lesson plans and charts and worksheets and everything. But that's not the outcome that is required. The actual outcome is what the learner take home that particular day after the particular session. For example, when we explore language learning, we may focus on reading, writing, listening, especially speaking skills, but alternative times separately, despite the fact that there are 4 essential literary skills contribute to our ability to communicate effectively. If we want our students to maximize their learning potential, give them the floor, make them the great communicators. By the range of mediums, we merge and integrate the key elements into the authentic learning experience. As I told you, if you want them to learn, let them learn by themselves. That is what is the whole integration is all about. For example, take speaking and listening skills as example. These 2 skills are both receptive and require us to engage different parts of the brain as we listen and then respond. When taught in isolation, we make it difficult for students to make cognitive links between the 2. However, when taught with integrated method, we give our students the opportunity to contextualize the key skills that would often use within the real world when communicating with others. To get started, begin by bringing single task into the classroom that incorporate the development of the 2 skills. That is what is important. So let them learn, let them listen, let them speak, let them communicate. If they want to create something, let them collaborate, let them communicate, let them bring the change in themselves, catalyst to the change, and then they will contribute to the learning. This is what is the 4 C's that we are talking about. Earlier, we talked about how to engage the students with all the 4 E's. That is engage, explore, experience, equip, and then express, such that we are able to excel in the learning process. Those are the 4 E's. Now, when we come to the implementation part of it, it comes as creation, collaboration, communication, catalyst to change such that they evolve and they just contribute. And the contribute in the sense, they contribute to the self-integration. That means what they have known, as I told you, to lead them from unknown to the known. What are the tasks I can use with my children to provide an authentic learning experience? This is this is the first question the teacher asks everything. To provide any task to your children. As a teacher, we should know them much, much better. As you know, not all students learn the same way. Not all or everyone learn in the same way. One size doesn't fit all. So we should know them very clearly. In a class of heterogeneous mixture, definitely it is very, very indispensable for the teacher to know about the subject area and the interest of the student. And what they know before, and based on the previous learning only, we can apply, we can suggest any task to them. Integrated learning strategies do not confine themselves to any specific subject area or the branch of knowledge. This practical teaching method can be applied across the entire curriculum. Here we look at some of the examples as you're going to see. Example, imagine you are teaching your first class or second class students reading comprehension. Focus on the lesson is the most likely to center around encouraging the students to tackle tricky words and sentence structures. Normally, we do it in the classroom situation to break down the language barriers and to increase that understanding. In order to do this effectively, we must consider the student interest. Each one of them is different. We can't say that, okay, I'm going to talk about cow, you write a comprehension on cow and show it to me. And they will write 5 sentences. Cow has 2 eyes, 2 ears. This doesn't work that way. Let you draw a cow. If you want to draw a cow, if you want to speak about a cow, okay, fine, speak about the cow, you talk about the parts of the body of the cow or the uses of the cow. And I have a cow, do you have, talk about their experiences. They will come with innumerable experiences and possibilities of learning. So coming back to this, in order to do this effectively, we must consider definitely student interest and allow them to explore a range of reading material that spans over the journals and forms. The possibilities here are endless. This is due to the openness of sourcing reading materials that dip from in and out of subject areas. Second example, alternatively, you may choose an art class that requires your students to create an accurate depictions of the shapes and specific scales. Here's a great opportunity to blend their skills that will have learned in the maths while encouraging them to create creative, employ them in the drawing exercises. For all these things, one thing is very, very important. Any kind of teaching to be successful, we should know our students much better. One more example of the integrated approach in teaching. There is integration when people can connect with what they are learning. That is what is the integration. What goes here, it goes here, and it comes in action. So the channel is this. So this is the main integration that we talked about and how we can collaborate all the subjects into the cross-curricular links. There is integration when the pupils can connect what they're learning in one subject area related to the content of the another. That means science is related to maths, maths is related to English, English is related to other objects. So, and it is related to art such that the student is able to express the way they can. That's the actual learning outcome. For instance, student may use the topic known in maths or social studies with the related concepts and skills in reading and language. Integrated teaching and learning processes enable the student to acquire, to use the basic skills in the content areas and to develop positive attitudes for continued successful learning throughout the elementary grades. Integration acknowledges and builds on the relationship which exists among all things. In the transdisciplinary approach to integration, teachers organize the curriculum around student questions and concerns. Students develop life skills as they apply interdisciplinary and disciplinary skills in real life context. That's what is the 4 E's that we talked about. That's what the different C's that we talked about. And that's what is the learning all about. for doing this, very, very importantly, what we should know is our learners. Knowing your learner is the key thing, is the basic thing before getting into any classroom, and their learning styles. As I told you, not all learners, not everyone learn the same way. Definitely not. Definitely not. Each one of them is different in their own way. Are all our five fingers same? No, definitely not. Am I same as my brother? No, definitely not. Am I interest same as my brothers or sisters? No, definitely not. Then how do you expect the whole of 30, 40 students to do one worksheet saying that, okay, fine, my job is done as a teacher? No. If you love your teaching, then you should know your learners much, much better, each one of them. So that's what we are going to see. That's what is the whole integration is about. Earlier, we talked about self-integration of the learner between heart, mind, heart, and soul, and the integration of different subjects, how we go across the cross-curricular links. Now, the integration, the basic integration between the teacher and the student, which makes the learning more successful, as we talked about, it's a role on the potter's wheel, and how the potter wants to mold the wheel, mold the clay, the clay comes out like that. So if you want to be a good potter at work, then you should know your clay you should know your clay much better. If you know the enemy and know yourself, you need not fear the result of the 100 battles. Hope you'll agree with me. If you know yourself but not the enemy, for every victory gained, you will also suffer a defeat. So if you know neither the enemy nor yourself, you will succumb in every battle. This is a quote. I took it from the internet, but still, it makes true sense to the teaching learning experience. So here are the different models that we can see, like the learning style model, which we will see through, we'll go through the model and then we can just come back. So, Honey-Mufford model. In this, active learners do things practically to gain knowledge from them. And people who like to learn from the existing facts and theories fall into this category. Such individuals conceptualize and experiment with ideas before they learn from them, because here the learning, the experience, the hands-on experience comes from first for them. And these learners reflect on what they see and learn from it. So this is called as Honey-Mumford model. It's pretty like a code model. It introduced the following learning styles. Filter-Sylvan learning style model. This learning model is focused on the fact that every individual has their own preference when it comes to the process of grasping the information. Certain individuals that they have multiple preferences, some may shift from one to another, and some may have only one. That sometimes they have rigid, some people will have rigid interests, some will have varied interests. Hope you will agree with me. Active and reflective learners, as the name suggests, are they believe on the hands-on experiences, and they do by experiencing learning. On the other hand, intuitive learners focus on the written facts and concepts. They can be presented with the pre-existing ideas. These are rote learners. As you will agree with me, what I learn, I'm going to produce it on the paper. So this is those kind of categories. Sequential and global learners prefer organized and systematic learning. And virtual and verbal learners go for supporting tools such as words and graphics as they present themselves. So you have to understand which learning style exactly my learner is going to follow or is adopting. Then you can modify your lesson planning. Definitely, we need to do the lesson planning. And so you can modify your lesson planning and you can just be as a successful teacher. Sorry for... Format learning model. What is format learning model? Format learning model is the extension of the group model. However, it presents 4 different learning styles, which includes imaginative, analytical, dynamic, and common sense. This model suggests that the individuals who base the learning on experiences are learners who fall in the category of common sense learning. Imaginative learners conceptualize these experiences, whereas analytical learners apply and refine their ideas too. Dynamic learners make use of all these steps but mainly use the basic learning as the personal interpretation. I'm sorry, I'm coughing very badly. What style learning model? The other one. The acronym of what explains the learning model itself. It stands for visual, auditory, reading and writing, kinesthetic learning styles. I think we will be able to really group our students in this. This is the most applicable, most usable learning model of all the teachers. Why? Because the way the students present themselves, we will be able to analyze them and group them and assign them the respective tasks and the assessments. It's not only the task, even the assessments that we can modify according to the learner's criteria and learner's interests. Visual learners will be able to remember things they see better than the things that they hear. Similarly, auditory learners absorb information best through the audio sources. Readers and writers like to do either of those. Kinesthetic learners gain knowledge by experiencing it. If you identify yourself as a visual learner, you can spend more time figuring out mechanism of what model. You can research learning techniques for this particular style to boost your learning capacities. As per this model, learners are divided into two types. Type 1, one learner can switch between the 4 learning styles as per the need of the situation. However, type 2 learners are referred to as slow learners because they only have one preferences. As I told you, I keep stressing on the same point. Students have varied preferences of learning. Not everyone learn the same way. Not everyone like to do the same task. So we should come out of this conventional way of teaching with our students, saying that I'm going to give you one worksheet, I'm going to give you one project, go finish it. That's not going to work. Say, for example, if you want me to elaborate more on that, I can give you an example for the SWOT model. I'm sure many of you would have just come across the system of, teaching of birds, teaching and talking about birds. Why am I again going back? We've talked about science, we talked about living things. Why am I going to birds again? Because it's something that we will be able to relate with ourselves very easily, anything which is related to nature. When it comes to talking about birds, when we talk about the nomenclature of the birds or the body structure, the physical body structure of the birds or the metabolism of the birds, before that, there is a prior thing that the teacher has to necessarily do it. That is, what is study of birds called? Think about it. Make your student a bird watcher at least for one session before you take on that particular bird's lesson to the classroom. Let them do bird watching at least for a week. Come back and tell me what are the different. Where do you go around for a morning walk with your dad? Come back and speak about this in the classroom. Assign them the tasks so they know exactly. They go and explore the nature. They come back and they have, I'm sure, innumerable things. Unstoppable they will be. They will be coming back with so many ideas, and each one of them will express them in their own way. Some may depict as a beautiful drawing, some may just give a speech, or some may do something else. Some may even make a bird and bring it to the classroom. This is what I saw in my garden. Well, being a bird watcher is just a hobby. If the student like it, let him complete it, let him continue it as a hobby. Now, taking it further, taking them, have you ever thought that if you're going to take this bird watching as a profession, what will you become? Okay, let me just go to the dictionary and just think, okay, fine. If I want to make bird watching my profession, what will I become? I become an ornithologist. Okay, ornithology. That's the study of birds. Ornithologist is the person who studies about birds. Then I got a new word. So this is how the learning experiences develop, such that we explore the possibilities of the integration between the science and maths and art and vocabulary and communication, such that they are able to produce it. Now, how to relate it to history? Do you know any famous ornithologists that you come across? Well, go back, think about it. Well, I will go to the encyclopedia, find it, make a history, make a book, and I'll make a scrapbook and bring it and talk about Mr. Salim Ali. So this is what is the whole learning is all about. This kind of learning really enhances the learning the experience of the learner, not only the learner. Instead of that, it has a good influence on the teacher themselves, such that instead of preparing just lesson plans and worksheets and correction of notebooks, instead you will enjoy your learning. Because the next day when the student comes and talk to you about birds and all these things, so definitely you will have a lot to respond, at least to respond to the students as a teacher, that you will have to really take it forward from there. Well, coming to cold learning model, I think many have really, now we are going to the rigid form of learning. All these things that we talked about is the primary kind of early learning stage. Now coming to the cold learning model, a concrete learning model. In the first stage, the learner either experiences something now new and goes on to the variation of the old experience. Yes, that's very true. Like there is a conventional way of learning that is always related to the old way of learning. That is the old wine in the new bottle. As teachers, we will not be able to create new concepts, definitely, but we can make them look new and such that it is more applicable to the students. That's what is happening. And hope you all agree with me with the remakes and the recap and the things which are coming up, definitely. So, reflective observation, the next stage in which the learner reflects on the set experience. The understanding of the experience is completely based on learner's personal interpretation. That is what is a key thing, and the whole teaching learning is all about. The integration between the student and the teacher, the bond which is developed between the student and the teacher, that brings the major outcome of the learning process. I know you better. Yes, you know me better. And still, it just goes on. So this is something that we should really work for. Abstract conceptualization, I'm sorry about the whole. Based on the understanding of the learner, goes through the abstract conceptualization in which either new ideas are formed or the old ones are modified. Active experimentation. The learner experiments with these new learnings in real life, and results of which will lead them to a new cycle and they become a successful learner. And this is what the learning style model is all about. Now, when we talk about the learners, there will be one question: who are these? How do I identify the learners? As we all know, very well, like Harvard theory of multiple intelligences definitely gives the basic idea of exactly who are the different types of learners. That is, some are visual learners, some are auditory learners, some are kinesthetic learners, some are natural learners, some are, we call them natural smart, some are interpersonal learners, intrapersonal learners, some are logical and reasonable spatial learners. They're called as spatial learners. So this is the basic thing that every teacher would like to know, will know definitely, and it is so easy to categorize them. So when it comes to the 4 types of learners, now moving to the next higher level of the 4 types of learners, what are they called? How do we categorize them? They're called as accommodators. Who are accommodators basically? Let's go from the down to bottom. They're called as basically when the learners use the focus of the third eye and the 4th stage of the cycle. They like to expend for those, they experiment for those individuals, and it is important to apply the knowledge practically. Hence why they love technical talks. These learners are called as convergers. So if you've got convergers, please understand, if they are very much interested in doing practical lessons, they are called as convergers. People with this learning style are more on the creative side of the spectrum. Whatever you give them, they will add some feather to it. They like to imagine greater extents, which help them to come up with the unique ideas. Divergers rely mostly on the first 2 stages of this cycle. So when they are going to diverge from your thinking and add on to it, we call them as divergers. Such learners, the assimilators, 3rd group of learners are called as assimilators. Such learners take on to everything with the support of only the known information. That means, give me proof. Give me proof. I will believe that. They prefer in conceptualization and reflection in absorbing the information more effectively. That's what is the thing. Going back to the divergers, they will be more interested in all kinds of science and science spectrum and proof. When it comes to assimilators, they will go by the max theory. They will be all kind of, there will be always a system of logical thinking and reasoning in their system. That means they will be good in IT and maths. That means computers and maths. So the last group of learners that we are talking about is the individuals with the learning style approach of new task welcoming. Anything and everything should be new for them. Say, for example, if they're going to learn a scientific experiment also, their thinking is not to just prove the scientific experiment. You got it? They will do something to improve the scientific experiment. Say, for example, yes, bringing a task of bringing a project or making a car. Like if they have to really do with the design technology, they go to assemble a car, they go to make a model of a car, they will think how I can add a high headlight to this car, how I can make a car move. So these type of learners are called as accommodators. These type of learners are called as accommodators, such that they go ahead one step further than others to make it more viable. Their learning style is practical, which is why their learning mostly comprises the last stage in the cycle. So these are the 4 types of learners. Once again, we go through them. They are convergers, they're divergers, they're assimilators, and they're accommodators. That's what is the whole learning is all about. Integrated learning is all about. Now, coming to another very quite interesting Grugok learning model. The Grugok learning model looks deep into the way of the mind works. We talk about integration, right? So this is another way of integrating model. As per this model, there is a dominant quadrant of the mind. Since this quadrant overpowers mental activity, it determines the learning style of an individual. First of this learning side is that concrete sequential learning. These learners learn via hands-on experience. The use of all senses is noticed in such learning. There is a concrete random. Such individuals can memorize knowledge quickly and then interpret it based on their prior knowledge. For example, a person learning will have to relate to the strumming pattern to an instrument that is related to familiarize with the learn and quickly get it enough. Moving forward, they are abstract sequential learners. People with this learning style require an organized learning environment with a lot of learning tools, especially visuals for a successful learning process. Lastly, abstract learners work in what seems like disorganized manner. They have their own to organize information in their mind as per their personal interpretation. So this is again relating it to mind, heart, and soul. What they see, they're going to conceive. And what they see, they receive. And what they receive, they conceive in their mind. And what they conceive, they're going to pursue on that. They're going to work on that. And what they actually work and they're going to achieve. So that's what is the whole thing in simple words it's all about. When it comes to the integration, now moving further. Now we have talked about the different learning models in a classroom situation. And how to adapt it depends upon the teacher who is going to take the class and who is going to lead the class further. Apart from that, what kind of task that we can give for learning practice integration to all students? In the sense, how to engage them in all these activities. There are different forms of doing it. One is give them tasks around the classroom such that it is to their interest and they're able to do that. In bigger classrooms, we can give them, which is called as work placements. You can make them runners in the classroom or any captains, or they can be school captain, sports captain or activity captain or anything. As such, they will be able to take it. Work terms very clearly in the field that they excel. If they are good in sports, if they are kinesthetic learners, they will be definitely, obviously, they will be excelling in sports. If they are good in art, definitely they will have, they will be, the visual, and they will be able to present it. If they are auditory learners, if they are visual learners, they will be good in art. They will be able to, they will be good in the depiction. If they are good in logical and reasoning, they will be good in IT skills. So we should know our learners much better. This is what is the whole integration. The integration does not stop with the parent, with the teacher and the student. It involves the parents as well. So this triangle of the student, teacher, and the parent, this is the whole integration. It completes the whole integration triangle, such that all three work together to make the learner's learning experience a successful experience. To move further, they can work in work terms, they can work in companies and internships according to their potentialities, according to their excelling. And they could be a cooperative, they could work in any of the cooperative education organization. They can do any kind of field work as such, and they can be involved in work-related projects and competitions. And also, very, very important, which is a key thing for any learner or any learning experience to be successful. It is not only the teacher knowing the learning experience, the student should know themselves much better. I am good at it. I'm going to work on it. I'm going to look forward. I'm going to do it. If, say, for example, if we talk about work-related projects and competitions, like talking about F1 cars, if it is F1 cars or any other science project which is coming, it's not the teacher or the parent should work together to make the project successful. It is the whole responsibility of the learner himself to make the project successful. For example, if they want to have, if they want to participate in any of the competition, or say, for example, take for example F1 cars, what is decided? We require a team of people who are working for the F1 cars. So what is first required, which is the model? They should have a prior knowledge of what kind of cars that are being run in the market or in the industry or in the race. Now we have to design our own car. When you're going to design, I need to collaborate with people. Some may be good in designing, some may be good in art, good in CAD work, some may be good in engineering work, some may be good in any other work. So all minds are put together. They need to work in collaboration, such that the creation is done. Collaboration part of it is taken care. And how do they present the project? So what they present is the communication that they're going to present it. So when the project is ready, when they feel that the type of the car that they're going to make is ready. So working on that, how is it going to add value? Now, who is going to make add finance to it? So when they make the car, and they should have exclusive part of the cars, which is there, either it is a flying car or it's a remote operated car, or any kind of exclusiveness should be added to it. No driver car, such that people really get interest to it. So you have to make it exclusive such that people will get interest to it. They will come and finance. So you're working on the entrepreneur skills of the students as well. So they go and find their own sponsors. They will bring and they go and present their cars, the cars in the F1 cars competition. So this is what is the whole integration is all about. It's not necessary that it's the responsibility of only the learner. It's not the responsibility of only this teacher. It's not the responsibility of only, it's all put together. As I told you, integration is all those scattered things we are trying to pool it together. That is what is the whole thing is all about. Service learning, entrepreneurships that we talked about, student-led enterprises, applied projects, and simulations. Say, for example, if I want to contribute to the society, say for example, now we're talking about integration, STEM-based learning, STEAM-based learning, so many things. But what is the major part of it is the equity-based learning. Equity in the sense, again, we talk about partnership. Who are the partners in it? The student, teacher, and the parent. Everybody has to work together. And it's with one family, it's not with family, all families working together, all families unitedly working together can definitely have the change in the system. In the sense for, say, for example, we can try it out, say for in the same thing, simulation. When it comes to the simulation, we don't talk about only the conferences that are involved in it. Simulations doesn't mean only the conferences and the meetings that we're talking about. It is every single day classroom situation is a simulation. Say, for example, if we're talking about any particular topic, a new topic which is going to be started next week, we can try it out. We should try it out. Give the topic to the students, assign them the task. You will make the lesson plan, you will find the resources, you go and do the research. So they go and work in team-wise, and they come and take the lesson for you. They prepare the lesson plan, they bring the resources, they bring the activities according to that. In this, the most successful part of it, they all work together. Students all work together in a more integrated form. They involve each and every student interest, such that if you see the activities which are involved in that teaching, every student interest has been taken out. Say, for example, there will be a song. Okay, if you're going to talk about plants, or if you're talking about chemical bonds, I will come and sing a song on whatever thing. They will tune their own song. They will come and present it in the classroom. They can present it as a stage drama. They can present it as any way as they wanted. They can present it. They will come and present it. And in that learning process, the outcome is more, and the teacher's burden is much, much less, because the students have taken the responsibility of their own learning process, and they will be guiding the other people as well. So this is what is the whole system of integrated learning is all about. Well, when it comes to that, what should a student know? In the sense, in this form of learning, we are going to the other part of it now, in the sense, what do I have? What do I need to equip? So when they work in collaboration, what is required is that not everybody is capable, not everybody is talented, not everybody has the potential of everything. I can't be a jack of all trades, but always there is a learning possibility. When I don't know anything, I will ask my friend to teach me, helping students to self-regulated learning. What do I have? What I don't have, I'm going to integrate. I'm going to bring it in myself. I'm going to develop it such that they work on metacognition. Metacognition is looking into self such that and work on the possibilities of exactly what is required. The term metacognition, literally beyond knowing what one who knows and what one who doesn't know, and what he knows and what he doesn't know, promoting the student's ability to self-monitor levels of understanding and predict how well he or she can do on a particular task. That is what is this whole metacognition is all about. So they work on their own metacognition skills, student monitoring in their own comprehension and assessing their own abilities without the teacher's help. That's what is important. And most closely associated with the teacher's instructional practices, teachers' metacognitive practices, if done effectively, can lead to student self-regulation. There is ample evidence, PER evidence to show that metacognition, self-regulated practices aided significantly in a student learning in PH1. Heuristic approach are often the best, and each student has his or her own. Highly effectively, if integrated into the course, students talk about their practices. Instructional strategies, characterize performances, make students aware that they are responsible for their own learning, state objectives and learning outcomes, provide practice tests and homeworks, provide guided practice before homework, have students participate in complex tasks such as presentation, report writing. So all these will be managed by the students themselves. Monitor student progress, provide feedback. They give their own feedback. You did this well. No, you need to work on that. So when I know that when I have to work on that, I go back and work on it, because I don't have a report card. I'm not offended with a report card saying the teacher, you did this right, you did this wrong, but it comes in a more sweet mode. So I work on that. Distinguish between deep and surface learning, promote reciprocal teaching and reading, provide information about the reading techniques, teaching content in multiple contexts of reading, discussion, labs, demos, presentations, provide abstract presentations. So it just goes on. Instructional strategies which are most applicable is address preconceptions, identify relevant knowledge and skills, explicitly define and characterize metacognitive and self-regulatory approaches, teach mastery skills, provide information about study skills, time and effort, set high expectations for student performances. Instruction strategies for 4, use mnemonics. Informal assessment should focus on making students' thinking visible to both teachers and students, encourage reflection and revision, provide timely and use feedback. Planning for instruction should include an analysis of the required knowledge and skills required for problem solving. Self-regulatory strategies, note failures to comprehend. Very important, they work on the resilience. They don't give up. Practice stress, they go on practice. Planning ahead, a portion of time and memory, promote active listening, analysis of problem solving, explain what was done and why. So on the whole, summarize what is required is simple strategies that we can do is planning, monitoring, evaluating, resourcing, grouping, note-taking, pre-texting, complex tasks, summarizing, deduction, induction, concept mapping, peer instruction, elaboration, Socratic dialogues, KW, knowledge, KW structures, KWL structures, what I know, what I want to know, and what I'm going to learn. So graphical organizers, etc. All these things really keep a classroom environment most integrated and more successful. Thank you so much. And with that, we have come to the end of the session. And definitely, and I really thank IIU for giving me this opportunity. And I really enjoy being here. Thank you so much, and hope I have finished it. I've completed it within time.